Hey, you guys, I hope you are doing well. I just want to check in with you guys today, and I know some of you may be getting dressed to go to church. I know that there are a lot of churches that right now are online and virtual. However you're spending your Sunday, I just wish you well. So, how about what happened last night with the Versus being canceled? Now, I saw Ashanti's live. And when she announced, of course, I posted it on my community tab saying that she announced that she got the Rona, she got the aura. And when I saw her on her live, all I could think to myself is she looked like she wasn't going nowhere anyway. Like Ashanti was not dressed up all ready to go somewhere and just found out that she had it. So a part of me felt like surely she had to know before Keyshia Cole got dressed, because Keyshia Cole was all dressed up with nowhere to go. Keyshia Cole was ready, okay? But Ashanti looked like she had not intended on leaving the house. Like she just was not all glammed up and everything like that, which means that she told these people in the in the 12th hour, right? Just like, oh, I'm not going to be able to make it. And it was disappointing, but I am glad that the ladies were able to get on live and talk and say, hey, this is postponed, this is rescheduled, and I'm still glad they're going to be able to do it. But I do feel like, well, damn, Ashanti, surely did you know a few hours earlier before, folks got all ready to get ready? Because she looked like she was she looked like she wasn't trying to get ready. I could see if she was all dressed up and it's like, hey, guys, I just found, I just tested positive, blah, blah, blah. No. Somebody should have told Keyshia Cole a little earlier, because Keyshia Cole was ready. She was all glammed up. She was looking beautiful. Both women are very, very beautiful, but you could just tell that Keyshia was ready, right? Nonetheless, I am glad that they are going to postpone it and they'll still get their moment. But a lot of folks was definitely disappointed. And I do hate that Ashanti had to get on live and she was coughing. I was like, oh, Lord. But she had to get on live and basically say, hey guys, I'm not lying, right? I don't think that, honestly, listen, it's a celebration of music. So there is no reason for Ashanti nor Keyshia Cole to ever feel like, oh, I don't have what it takes to get up on here and play my music or do whatever I'm going to do. I don't feel like that. And I hate that she felt like she had to go live to basically debunk the rumors that she was scared. That's just silliness. People just sometimes so silly. But nonetheless, what y'all doing this Sunday morning? I usually try. Now, let me tell you what I usually do when I get up on Sunday mornings. I watch a couple of episodes of the Golden Girls because, yes, I am a Golden Girls fan. I have been watching Golden Girls pretty much my entire life, ever since they debuted. And it pretty much comes, you can find it somewhere every single day, right? So I watch the Golden Girls at least a couple episodes daily. Daily, I do. And I also watch, my cousin let me borrow her. I got her little Stars app. So I do check in on, the new Ghost, whatever it's called, right? Power 2, Book 2, or something like that, to see Tariq running somewhere. I didn't think that I was going to watch it, to be honest with you, because the last season of Power was just so whack to me, personally. That I was like, I'm not going to watch this. And I found myself watching Mary, Monet every week, walk into a room suspiciously on her kids, like, what y'all talking about in here? Somebody better tell me what's going on. What y'all doing in here? That shit gets kind of old, but I struggle with her acting on here. I have seen her in other things, so I don't think she's a terrible actress. I just think that this, to me, it's like, I don't know, but it works. It works for what it needs to work for, so to speak, right? But yeah, that's what I usually do. And every now and then I'll try to listen to some gospel music or try to find something on TV like that. I used to actually watch Joel Osteen every Sunday. Like I would get up, I think it would come on 7:30s in the morning, come on, and I would watch it. But to be honest with you, I have not watched Joel Osteen ever since that whole thing with the hurricanes and in Houston, and how he pretty much turned his back on, people who needed help. And until he was basically called out and shamed for it, then he decided to open the church doors for people that were seeking refuge. And ever since then, I really have not watched Joel the way I used to watch Joel. I just kind of got turned off by that. But I used to enjoy his message, but I just haven't been able to return to it, so to speak. It's something about that just really like soured me with him. So yeah, I usually may watch like a local something just to get sometimes just to get a word, right? Because I haven't honestly physically been in a church in years. When I moved out here, I'm about 30 minutes outside of Chicago. And when I moved out here, I had already kind of made up my mind, right, that I wasn't necessarily just rushing to go to inside a church again, because I had felt like that for a long time. Like, I just don't, I don't know if I really, really, really want to go to church anymore. And I'm going to talk to you guys in a minute about why that is. Not that I had a bad experience with church, because I can't say that I did, but once I felt like, okay, I'm grown now and I can make my own decisions about this kind of stuff. I will pick and choose, or I will decide how I would like to, to worship God, and how I would like to, as far as my personal relationship with God. So when I moved out here and I was going through, like when I first was going through my, I separated from my ex-husband and stuff like that, I found the church out here. It was diverse. It was something that I wasn't necessarily used to, because I wasn't used to going to church with a little bit of everybody. Here, I grew up on the west side of Chicago, right? And so I took, me and my kids went there, and I guess what attracted me to the church, honestly, it wasn't the music or anything like that. To be honest with you, it was the fact that we would get in there, start at 9, and be done at 10:30, and we was back home. That was everything to me, to be honest with you, because I went to a church growing up. Hell, we had morning service. Sometimes I would have afternoon service, and we definitely would stand for evening service. So all of that church in one day kind of turned me off to the point where I was like, when I get older, I ain't doing all that shit. I ain't doing it. So when I found that church, it kind of fit. It kind of worked for me, but it still was missing something, because although I was around a diverse group of people and they was singing like the Hillsong music, I still wanted the gospel music that I grew up on. I still wanted that. And there are predominantly Black churches out here where I am. It's just this fear for me. It's still this fear in me that I'm going to be there all day. And I just cannot do that no more. All right. It just reminds me of, like I said, when I was growing up. Now, my mother, when she married my father, my mother converted to Catholicism. She became Catholic. And so during my early years, we went to a Catholic church. If you know anything about a Catholic church, you in and you out. You do your little, the little thing, you get on home. You're done. Now, I don't think that worked well for my mother, because again, she grew up Baptist. She grew up in the choir. This is what she was used to. And she only converted from my father. And then it got to the point where she was like, I don't want to do this no more. So she took me and my brother, and we went to, a Baptist church on the west side of Chicago. She was in the choir. I was a little, kid usher. We would be there all day long. Right. Then eventually my mama went out south, and we lived on the west side of Chicago. My mother decided to go out to the church out south. My mother wasn't driving at the time. So my father, he would drop us off all the way on the south side. And he was like, listen, I ain't coming back until later. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to have an afternoon service or evening service, I'm not going to come back and get you, then take you back out there. So y'all have to pretty much stay. And man, this is what honestly kind of like, I don't want to do this no more, because we would be there, because it would be like Sunday school. Then you had service. Then it might be a little break between there. It's a break. You eat and everything like that. Then you might have an afternoon service, right? You eat. And then there was a visiting choir or evening. So doing that shit every Sunday, I was like, when I get older, I'm not doing this no more. I'm not doing this no more. And my mama, God rest her soul, I miss her so much. She was just like the funniest character when it came to church. Like, I honestly can sit here and tell you that my mama, from Sunday to the next Sunday, after she left church, she would go shopping. You know, back then it was Lane Bryant, Fashion, but all the stores. My mama would go and get her outfit and prepare her outfit the entire week. She would go to the thrift shop. She would go get that stuff. She would go get it clean. She always, like, her week was really centered around stunting on everybody in church. So by the next Sunday, she was ready to go. She had a hat, and my mother went to church with her sisters. Like, everybody pretty much went to the same church. So my mama, honestly, when I stop and think about it, I think my mama just went to church for the fashions and to stunt. Because I promise you, every Sunday, my mama had something. Now that I look back on it, my mama had something to get up and testify about. And possibly shout, because I just think sometimes I'm testifying, her testifying had something to do with, she just wanted to make sure everybody saw the fashions. My mama would go and she would, and then after church, her and her sisters would sit there, like when they left or when they would go, and they would just gossip about everybody in the church. Like, this was honestly my church experience. My mama and her sisters would sit there with the fashions, and then when it was over, they would sit there. Eventually, when they got home, would call each other, like they haven't been with each other all Sunday, but would call each other and talk about everybody in the church. And then it would start all over again. So honestly, that's what I remember most about that. And it didn't necessarily turn me off about it, because I didn't know no better, but it was the long-winded shit that I just couldn't do. So like I said, when I got old enough, and my mother was like, oh, well, you can make the decision whether or not you want to go or not. I didn't. When I got old enough where I was driving, I would drive my mother out south to church. So I would drive her, and she wasn't doing all them long services at this point. I would drive her out south to church, and I would stay out south, hang out, do whatever, young 20-something-year-olds would do. And then I would go pick her up after service, right? Because I got like my dad, like, listen, I'll drive you, but I ain't making all these trips, mama. And so that's kind of how things went until she was no longer physically able to go to church. But those really are my church memories, most of all. And I kind of do miss some of, just the ministry of it all, the music. I personally think, for me, the ministry for me is in the music. Like, I can hear a good word. Like, I can turn on YouTube. I can hear a good word, right? But for me, the ministry has always been music. So that was one of the things that I missed most of all when I did move out here. And I was looking for that particular thing. So I was just looking for a place that could give me that kind of ministry in the music and don't have me sitting there all day. And then at some point I was like, you know what? Never mind. I'll just stay my ass at home on Sunday mornings. But those are just my church memories. Those are just my church memories and how I grew up. I do miss a little bit of that, though. I do. It's just, looking back on it and reflecting back on it, it's just so funny to me that now that I can look back at it and say, you know what, my mama, I ain't saying that they was going to church and they wasn't getting no food, no spiritual food for it. But I feel personally 80% of it really was just a stunt on the other church ladies. My mama was she loved clothes. She loved to shop. She loved to put an outfit together, and she would dress down, baby. And I kid you not, I'm so serious when I say this. My mother really prepped all week for the next Sunday. And that was down to the shoes, the whole entire outfit. She had to have a hat. My mother had a huge hat collection. She had to have a hat, and that's what she did. And she dressed down. And she, like I said, she made sure that she testified. She had to I was like, why did she testify? And sometimes I would get so embarrassed, like, oh my gosh, she's getting up again. Here we go. you know, first giving honor to God who is the head of my life, and to pass this every Sunday. And now I'm thinking to myself, I know why. She just wanted to get up and show the girls. She wanted to show the girls. And if she really was feeling like showing the girls, she would get up. She was like, then she'd start hollering. You know, I don't know about you, but that traumatized me as a kid when I would be sitting right next to my mama. And then I could see a shout coming. You could just feel a shout coming. And then she out in the aisle. And I would just be so scared. At first, I was very scared of it, because I didn't know what was happening when people would shout and stuff like that. I was frightened by all of that. But then, like I said, I kind of got like, okay, I see. Okay, mama. All right, just sit down, mama. Sit down. And so those are just my church memories. It just makes me chuckle now. All of my mother's gone. Her sisters are gone. My mother had 7 siblings. Everybody's gone except one. And and like I said, they all kind of went to church together, which is the craziest thing, that they all pretty much all gone now. But those were just some of my church memories. And although, like I said, I was soured by being in church all day. It's still, those memories still are important to me, and they do make me chuckle, and they do make me laugh, and they make me miss my family and the way we were, and how all the cousins, we were all in the same church, believe it or not, right? We were all together all the time. I remember there was a time my uncle was a pastor, right? He was a minister, and he was still trying to get his church off the ground. Like, he didn't have no members. We were literally his members. We would go to his house and have church. Matter of fact, this is a funny story. I used to spend a night at my cousin's house. Like I said, it was just us. And we would literally have to wake up and get dressed and go downstairs, and he would have all the seats, like, you know, in the living room. And we would have to come down the aisle like we were the choir. And I just remember like stuff like that, and how funny it is right now, but how pissed off we would be. Like, how we late? We just came from down. Like, how we gonna be late for church? We are in the church. This is the church. How we late? And how, you know, I'd be like, I don't want to spend the night, because I didn't want to go to church. I did not want to come down the stairs and go down the aisle rocking and be in the choir with the little seats that he had. I mean, he had it all set up. He played the guitar, and he played the organ. So he would have his little guitar, and we would have to come down the aisle. It's just I got like a ton of stories like that. And me and my cousins sometimes reminisce over this stuff, because it is so hilarious now. But that shit wasn't funny at the time, because again, you was living through it. But yeah, those are my church memories. These are my Sunday memories. And I just thought like, I'm up, and let me go ahead and get on here and talk to people. You know, I know that this week coming up is going to be kind of crazy for me, because I kind of have to wrap up stuff before we go on Christmas break at work, everything like that. But like I said, I just wanted to come on here this morning and just say something to everybody, and just see what y'all up to on a Sunday. Maybe some of y'all are on y'all way out to church, you know, and stuff like that. And I don't know. I'll never say never. I know I won't ever say I won't ever step foot in a church again. I would never say that. But I don't know. I'm just trying to find the right fit. And maybe the right fit is honestly laying here and watching it on TV. And I don't judge nobody for doing it the way they do it. Because at the end of the day, it's about having a personal relationship with God. And that's it. And that's all. So I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye.